Hey there, everyone. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach, and welcome inside the Content Creation Tips and More Facebook group, where on Fridays we funnel our Fridays and start to look at how we can problem solve using content marketing tips and tricks and strategies. So let's begin. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Yam. Great to see you all joining us in our live session today. Is the beginning of many. We sure hope that this is an opportunity for members inside of the community. This is a closed live streaming event. And inside our Funnel Fridays, it's an opportunity for us to learn from one another, get to know each other. This is also going to be a great opportunity where you'll get to meet each other, learn a little bit more about one of the members and what they're doing, also what their struggle is, which more than likely is not an uncommon struggle in and of itself. So what we do in Funnel Fridays is an opportunity for one member to hop into the coachee seat, as I like to call it, bring their challenge and an opportunity for us to problem solve, looking at the content ecosystem, marketing ecosystem, the one that, so do I have my picture here? The content marketing ecosystem that I operate from for my clients, for them as they are helping to grow their business. So today we have our first coachee seat member jumping in. So let me give him an introduction, and I'm going to add him to our screen. Just give me 1 second. And I'd like to welcome Felipe Rodriguez, is a member of the Content Creation Tips and More Facebook group. Welcome, Felipe. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we're great. So thank you so much for
Awesome.
being our daring member to basically, kind of let your guard down a little, share what may be considered a challenge, but for others it's an opportunity and how you're going to be able to grow. So in a coaching conversation, it's really about asking questions and seeing how, based on where you are right now, how we may be able to problem solve it a bit. So it is a little bit consultative and coaching for those of my fellow coaches out there. So I do a blend. I can't help it just because of the nature of being an entrepreneur myself. So Felipe, why don't you kind of give us a quick introduction? Who are you? What type of business do you do? I know you kind of are a blend, and also where are you located?
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for having me here. Super excited to go over this. My name is Felipe Rodriguez. I'm a local business banker for a local community bank in South Florida.
Mhm.
And I also consult or help people how to improve their word of mouth marketing.
Okay.
Being that I'm an ambassador of the local chamber. I generate most of my business in word of mouth through networking. I basically found a way to be able to automate and make it streamline and basically get better results. And using the funnels, I'm super excited to see how we can implement this model.
Okay. Okay. So you do this at a local level, which is very interesting. So for many of the members in the group, they may be in a very similar situation. They service a local community, but they also have an ability to do things online. And the fact that you also, because you're a business banker, you also have some limitations. I know because I have another customer client who's in the finance industry, and so you have some. I guess you call it like industry regulation. So there's certain things you can and cannot do on social media, or just out of the nature of the work, and also because of the company as a bank and industry. There's just certain things you have some limitations that a regular small business person doesn't necessarily have. So we'll have to know how to navigate around that, because it is don't want to get you in any trouble
Correct.
at
Correct.
the same time. So good for that. So you mentioned you do a lot of networking, and because do you do is part of your work and your responsibilities, because you being a member of the Chamber of Commerce, is that how you're getting your customers?
Most of the time is yes, yes. Through networking events or word of mouth or being able to get referrals from our existing clients. That's probably 85 to 95% of my business.
Wow, that's a lot.
It
Um,
is.
and may I ask if is that generation of customers just like bringing them in to be a banking customer as and are you responsible for loans and all that other stuff or just business banking? Like,
No, so I help individuals improve their cash flow situation,
okay,
either through, lines of credit, equipment financing, you know, commercial real estate, or in the residential side.
okay,
So we offer different products. And when when the major difference, banking, I can imagine everybody that's listening right now, they have a checking account, right?
uh-huh.
So the difference with the bank I work with, we are very personal. We don't have a 1-800 number. I deal with the client directly. So we can add a little bit more value, because we're, basically allowing to be able to become a business partner, not just a bank.
Mm. Okay. So so you do that full time, and then your goal, as I understand it, is how do you take what you're doing full time and be able to start to work more consultative outside of the banking opportunities, or being able, because of that fine line that you have?
Yeah, not necessarily that I'm trying to get out of the banking industry, but I
Okay.
am trying to figure a way how I can make it easier
Okay.
for my referral partners to refer me, and how can I make it easier for me to be able to add more value to my existing clients. That
Okay.
and what I've been able to find is that there's a lot of processes that you can do automated, that can kind of basically, I'll give you an example. I have a client. I want to introduce him to my my CPA referral partner. How can I do that without being salesy, or
Okay.
trying to give them something they don't need? And I believe it's all based on the education part. So I just want to be able to give my clients the the ability to also meet and learn from my circle of influence.
Okay. I like that. I like the term that, that circle of influence is important because, again, so I hear you that your niche then is networking, not network marketing, but networking
Correct.
at a local level, and that you um, wanting to help local businesses obviously grow and become a customer inside of the individual bank that you represent. So there's a couple of things that you can think about when we think of content marketing. There are the six areas that you can tap into. You don't have to do all six, but each methodology or each strategy that's a part of it may be able to lend itself to something. So there's blogging, there's podcasting, there's your email automation, there's creative visuals, there's your website, and social media. And I know even with social media, it does have its, some limitations, again, just out of the nature of your industry. So we can speak to that. So one of the ways that you can think about your ability to connect with others is to create a funnel that's going to be able to attract your clients at the local level, but possibly even online to a certain degree. You have a website?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Yes, I
All
do.
right. And and it's and that's your personal, you have a personal website, or do you have kind of a personal business consulting?
No, I have a personal website because I can tell you that 5 years ago, basically, I started understanding how important it was to start establishing your personal brand.
Right.
Yes, there is a business brand, but there's also a personal brand that, people are doing business with you. They like you. They want to be able to learn about you. So I had to find a way. How can I stay in compliance and also get to meet more people and let other people know about me
Okay.
and know if do they really want to work with me,
Okay.
right? Because it's all about, people do business with people that like and trust.
Okay. So I think so so what I think I'd like to do with you is kind of consider a couple of options that you may want to attack that would be kind of simple, doesn't require a lot. Let me ask you a couple questions like what you like or what you're comfortable around. So on all the social media platforms, what do you feel is what are you most comfortable with and where do you hang out the most?
So the one I like the most is this thing, Instagram, because I'm a
Okay.
visual person. I like the visual aspect of it.
Okay.
And so that's my favorite one. The other one that I utilize a lot is LinkedIn.
In LinkedIn, right.
Yes. Mhm.
And because of who you are, what you do, your customers more than likely, do you particularly work in any particular type of customers locally? Do you have a particular target audience that you are aiming for as a customer base for yourself?
Yeah, so the target audience that I go after is companies that generate from $5 million to $50 million in annual sales, and
Okay.
then the other ideal relationship that I'm looking for is individuals that I can refer business to, that will add value to my relationship with my existing clients. So
Okay.
CPAs, commercial attorneys, title companies, real estate agents. Those are the other particular client base that I'm looking for,
Okay.
or partners.
And yeah, and those will tend to hang out mostly in the LinkedIn land, because LinkedIn, I mean, it is business to consumer, but it's also a lot more business to business, which I feel as though kind of like where you spend most of I would say your intended audience is more on a business to business basis, because of the nature of your work. So you have a website. So what I'm going to do, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. Let me put up here my sketchy screen. So here we go. So on Funnel Fridays, it's an opportunity to kind of think out loud and think about what are some things that you could do that you aren't doing that could help to initiate some traffic for you, as well as enhance leads in your case, right? Because even when you're meeting people in person, you want to be able to have something to leave behind, right? And in the old days, right, we would give them our card and was like, yeah, call me sometime. But that's not enough anymore. You've got to be able to have this kind of ongoing conversation. You want to kind of not leave the conversation there at the door wherever you're talking and have met them. You say like you go to your Chamber of Commerce meetings. They're pretty frequent. Is that like, it's something that's monthly or weekly?
That's monthly.
It's monthly. Okay.
Some
All
of my
right.
some of the meetings are monthly, and some of the meetings are weekly, depending on what particular group you're a member of.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you told me about your level of comfort in using LinkedIn and Instagram. Do you post routinely in LinkedIn? Felipe?
Can you repeat that?
Um, how often are you engaged in LinkedIn?
Sorry, hold on. I got my audio.
Mhm.
Can you repeat that question?
Oh yeah. So the question was, in LinkedIn, like, what are you doing right now inside of the LinkedIn platform? How do you
So basically,
engage?
that's for me to connect. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know you're on your phone. Can you hear me? Oh, hello. There you go. You're back, I think. There you go.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I was asking, my question was around in LinkedIn. What are you doing inside of LinkedIn currently? Just so I kind of
Well,
get a
LinkedIn
sense.
is a way that I can make an introduction to people that I want to
Okay.
get connected with.
All right. So you're using it more for transactional purposes
Not
instead of
transactional, but
connecting?
just say for a follow-up purpose that I met somebody in
Yeah.
an event and I can reach out to them.
Okay. I call that a transaction, but okay. All right. And then do you do any writing right now? Like how comfortable are you with videoing and writing and things along those lines? Like what's your comfort level?
I'm getting more comfortable with the video and also, but I'm not really comfortable being in front of cameras that much.
Okay. All right. See if you can flip yourself on your phone.
I know I'm trying to do that. Hold on.
Okay. It's okay if you can't. We understand. Sometimes technology isn't always beautiful. But okay, so that gives me some ideas. When we think about a sales funnel, it's just that. It's an opportunity for you, and I'm going to sketch a little bit here. It's an opportunity for you to send people or connect with people who you don't know necessarily and build a relationship with. And there's different ways in which you're making those connections. So in your particular case, in fact, let me do it this way. In your particular case, you have a couple different opportunities, as I hear. You go to live events, right? So you go to meetings and you're able to introduce people. You also have the opportunity to do some social media, what I call social media management. Oops, he came back. Hold on. He might have to come back in, you guys. Give him 1 second. All right. And as he's going to get reconnected, one of the things that's interesting about what Felipe does is the fact that there's a personal connecting and networking that he's doing. And now he's going to have an opportunity to take the physical in person and be able to leverage a funnel. So you can still have a funnel when you can still do a funnel even at a personal local interaction level. So don't always think that everything has to be digital. It doesn't have to be. So the fact that Felipe, you have meetings, you have an opportunity to do some social media, and then you have your website. So at those three entry points, we're going to call them, are opportunities where when you connect with people at those levels, you're going to be able to then send them to an offer. So so you would be doing mostly consulting services. Would you say it's like your ideal, the way you want to be able to bring people in is your ideal service to do coaching and consulting, or what's your ideal, like what's the end goal for you for somebody that you get to meet with?
So, I believe in the banking role, as long as you give value to somebody and be able to make the introduction, I think that's what's going to make you different with what they're offering at this time. If you're working with a big institution, it's more like, transactional. So what I want to be able to do is be able to be a one-stop shop where people can come in as a business owner and say, hey, well, how can I grow? And I'm able to make introductions to a marketing company, a CPA. So those team or ideal partners that can help them navigate through every single stage of building a strong business.
Okay. And so, okay, so that would be mostly consulting and also doing, and as well as kind of like you're saying, connecting people with other people.
Correct. You know, being
Okay.
able to teach, basically I've been networking for the last 15 years,
Mhm.
and I've been able to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Okay.
Um, and to be able to kind of help them, a lot of business owners are now leveraging their own client base or even their partners. I've read an article that it states that um 85% of the businesses don't even know who their banker is.
Wow. So you mentioned a little earlier and you used the term word of mouth marketing. So, and I think the fact that you've got 15 years experience in that space uh, allows for you to um, share that knowledge. It's the fact is, how are you sharing the knowledge out in addition to what you're doing at those meetings and with the social media? It's like, hey, this is me and this is what I do. So the things that, and the fact that you say, you're not too much into video, but you could certainly, like you said, you have tips and tricks, right, that you're able to offer and share with those individuals that you're trying, those businesses, right? As far as how to network and how to get their business in front of other local businesses that they can leverage themselves to each other. Do you feel as though like that would be your level of expertise?
Correct.
Okay. Um, so the first thing I know, if writing isn't your thing, but one of the things, since you do have a website, you want to be with social media is great, but it's not the end all be all. When you're using social media for your social posts, at some point you want to be able to add value. It's not always about selling, but you do want to be able to add value by giving them an opportunity to learn more about who you are and what you're doing. And one of the ways to do that is going to be for you to have some content on your website that has value for the things that your intended audience needs. Um, in as much as you're saying, this is what I could do for you, but how are they going to be able to gain information and maybe a simple strategy that they're going to be able to do? So I think the first thing that you can consider doing when you're thinking about your website, the fact that you have a website, is to get a really good, what we call long epic blog, a blog post that really is going to address a particular need or a particular need or something that most of your local vendors are struggling with. And if you're saying to me that most of them don't even know, one, they don't know their own banker, so that's an opportunity about the benefits of being and knowing your own banker. So that's a topic in and of itself. And then the benefits of word of mouth marketing. I think people think that that's kind of dead, but you're going to meetings, and I know we're kind of lifting ourselves out of COVID in a way. So we're trying to get back to that new normal. And so there's still power, I would think, in meeting people face to face and engaging with them in that way.
And it's something that has been around for I can say maybe centuries, word of mouth. So I'm not inventing anything that people are not doing at this time. What I've been able to do is kind of improve it and make it streamlined, because like you mentioned, you're gonna start going to these events. But what I was realizing is that there's a lack of follow-up, right?
Okay.
They people, another uh, silly stat that I saw is that only 3% people buy in the first, at the first time. I want to ask you, when you go and buy something that's greater than, I say maybe $100, how many do you just buy it, or do you think about it a couple of times before you're doing that?
Yeah, it depends if it's online or not. I usually I do my research. So yeah, I'm not going to just buy it off the top, if I know my vendors or my store, where I typically would buy from before I'm going to just hand over my check, to your point.
Yeah, and you said two things that with the techniques or strategy that I want to be able to use is be able to kind of already um how can I say, do the study, do the research for them already, so that individual that's looking to do business with me,
has, I'm giving them already. I'm telling them why they should work with me. And it's good to be able to add value, like educate them first and for them to get to know you, see the value, because then otherwise they'll go based on price, not what can they offer. What's the value that they're bringing? Because if you don't put value, then you always have to be the cheapest, and that's not something that business owners should be thinking about.
Okay. So I think one of the topics then, so you got two different topics that you could speak, that you could write a blog on if you don't have that already on your website. I think would be to do one blog post would definitely be about word of mouth marketing, WMM, I'll shorten that up. And then the other one is just about, a business banking relationship. And those are two different topics that would lend itself to show a little bit more on your expertise. And even if you're not you don't have to write the blog yourself. I know everybody doesn't like to write, but you can certainly get someone who can do the writing for you if you could give them a quick outline of the things that you feel are beneficial, and then you can kind of collaborate with somebody to write a blog post. Once you do a blog post, then you have an opportunity to think about, okay, now that they've read the blog post, what kind of tool or resource can you give them that they would find useful? So usually this is what we call like a low ticket offer. So a low ticket offer, or even a freebie, right? Even though the blog is a freebie, but that's just to add value. And also, to your point, it's about showing your credibility and being able to share with people. On your website, I'm sure you'll have information about you, who you are, your profile, the services and things that you provide as that local banker. But at the same time, the blog in and of itself is speaking to the pain points or what people are missing. So after they've read the blog post, you then want to be able to offer them something. So you could think of, it could be a checklist, it could be top tips, it could even be a simple kind of a course, a mini course, where you can kind of break down a process or system, to your point that you were talking about, that you've been, in your 15 years of experience. There's some information and a strategy that you could easily come up with and provide that as like even a mini course, a mini course or a webinar for that matter, where you can bring people, kind of down the funnel so they can get to know you a little bit better. And you're collecting these names at these meetings, right? But the thing is too, when you get a good blog post going on at your website, then there's also some SEO that you can take advantage of. So not that the person who writes your blog post should have some search engine optimization type of techniques inside of the content, and then how you can optimize that too. Because what that means is that when people are doing certain types of searches, your name and your page in that blog post is going to pop up in the search. So you have that. So I'm going to put SEO as a way in which you want to make sure that you're enriching that blog post for yourself. And again, I know SEO, I just don't like doing it. So when I need help with that part, I give it to my VA. So you have that. So don't feel as though the things that I'm sharing are things that you personally have to do. If you need to get some help and outsource and get a virtual assistant to help you, or just get a writer, maybe even a writer who has that finance background, even better, because then they have some context for you. So what would you feel would be, do you think that you could do like a little mini course on something? You can even do it as, even if it's just an email text type of a drip campaign type of a mini course that say, the 5 strategies of X. That could be kind of a method, and you can use email marketing for that. So and also they can just opt into it. So you're going to get people's email addresses. And that's another important thing.
Correct, because you want to start building that communication between you and them.
Yeah, and the fact that you're meeting with them at this meeting, that's some place that you can invite them to that mini course if you wanted to. And like I said, it could be written. It's something that just kind of get over 5 days. I'm going to share some information with you. And if you want to, you can put some audio to it as well. That kind of speaks to that same topic, because you don't have to expound on everything in the blog post. You want to leave something so that you can then again build on it. So some basic information at the blog post level, and then you can delve into something more deeper and more beneficial for them with like a little mini course. So I think that would be and this is what we call your low ticket offer, LTO.
And I think, by teaching people how to go through the same system and process that I go through when I'm networking or generating new business will be ideal.
No, definitely. That's what you want. You want to be able to share with people things that you're doing successfully that can help them. And it's because you're a business banker and you're saying, hey, small business owner, I can help you do what I'm doing. It's just basic word of mouth marketing. They may feel like just because they have friends and family that's enough. It's not. I can tell you that off the top of my head, and I'm sure you know that. But if that's going to be kind of what I would call your subject matter expert, right? You're a subject matter expert on word of mouth marketing, right? So then that's how you can tap into your knowledge and expertise and then be able to share and be that value add to your customers. So that low ticket offer could be, like I said, a quick checklist if you want as a first thing. And that's real easy to create. And then and that's free, or it could just be, like you said, a mini course that you could send. And in this case, this is going to be an email. It could just be by email, because they're going to give you your email address anyway to opt into it. And that mini course can be a couple of days. It just extends in how you never want to overwhelm people. So how can you chunk down that mini process, like you said, and put it into a small course? And then you can send that to them in what we call like drip email. So your email automation system, you'll be able to tap into that. So already when we think about the content marketing ecosystem, you've got your blog and you've got your website on your blog. And then you now can tap into your email marketing system and share a mini course. So when people say that sounds interesting and it's free, and if they know it could be of value, then you're able to start to nurture that relationship across to these individuals that you're meeting at these meetings, as well as people who you haven't met yet, because with the SEO, you're going to be able to get some traffic to your site from anyone for that matter. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Super excited.
Do you think are you using email marketing now?
I am, but not into, not like I should. I think that, I'm missing the opportunity to really work on a newsletter or something to be able to keep my client or my prospects engaged. Because that's the name of the game is engagement. How can I keep these people engaged? And so many businesses are lacking that. So, I'm sorry, what you said?
No, go ahead.
I said so many businesses or individuals are lacking that. And before, we can use an excuse, but now they have so many different platforms, so many different softwares that makes it easy and easier to do it, that if you're not doing it, you're really not taking your business seriously.
All right. So this is also going to be good for you to circle back to your list of people that you have on if you have a list of emails. Once you get the checklist offer, not only is it you can send that and offer that to even your existing customers, at least the ones that you feel are at a place where they're not using this. So you're going to have to do, if you didn't catch the other day, I did a coaching session on segmenting your list, meaning how are you tracking and tagging the people on your list? Because everybody wouldn't necessarily be at the same place as far as their needs go. If you're telling me you got a company who's doing, 10 million to 500 million, I don't know, in sales, you're not going to talk to them the same way that you're going to talk to
Correct.
a mom and pop bakery owner, right?
Or a
So you
business,
have to
or
segment.
somebody that just opened their business. Their needs are totally different.
Yeah. So one of the things that is going to be really important for you to do is to really go through your list and start to segment them. Now, you don't necessarily have to personally segment them, but you may want to run one of the things I tell people that they could quickly do in segmenting and also cleaning up that list is to send out a survey. And in that survey, you can simply ask a couple of key questions, and that's going to help you to divide up your list, or at least put them into certain groups. If they can define who they are and what they do and what their needs are, that's going to help you to segment them. And then out of that list, you may find that there's going to be a set of individual businesses who would benefit from that low ticket offer of the checklist or the mini course. And then you can offer information to them. So that's another kind of a takeaway in a homework assignment is do work through your email marketing in your email list itself and do some segmenting so that you can really talk to the intended audience. The new people coming in at those meetings, you will already kind of know who they are. So when you bring them into your list, you can already put them tag them to be an invitation to read the blog post, right? Because I think that's a great way for you to kind of introduce yourself a little further without having to read them the article. It's like, hey, I've got
And
an article on XYZ. Go to my
and
website
you
and you
also
read more.
correct. And what you mentioned is something very crucial right now is being able to segment it, because the great thing I believe about funnels is that you can specifically speak to
Oh,
that particular ideal client or avatar, like we call it. That if you're looking for, like what I mentioned, a business that you're starting off, I'm gonna talk to them different than a business that's already been in business for 5
right.
years. Or I'm gonna talk to different, to a CPA, and I'm gonna talk to a wholesaler, or a doctor. So everything is, and I agree with you. The more segmented, the more that you get, you'll be able to really get better results.
Yeah. So that's going to be a key takeaway homework assignment. I don't know how big your list is, but if you
No,
can, if it's if you,
I do that now, Doc. I already do that
okay,
now. I try
okay,
to
great.
segment and everything because I know how important that is. So I
Okay, good.
presently do it now.
Okay, good, good, good. So, and then once you've gotten your course, then you'll be able to then give. Now, that course, like I said, could be either free or a real low ticket cost, like maybe $5. Because what I've learned is that when you pay attention. So and you can
I
even
agree
say the
with it.
$5.
I agree with you with that. Because I've I've given people free stuff and they really appreciate it, but when you charge, they do, and they pay more
Yeah,
attention,
and it's
like you
also
mentioned.
something that's a low investment for themselves. Now, you could even if, and for the purposes of your industry, that may not be allowable, but what you can say is that the money that you're doing could just go to a not-for-profit
Yeah,
organization that you're doing it as a fundraiser. So that's a safe way because I use Kiva is my organization of choice because it's about micro lending to third world countries and for people who are wanting to do business, and they're real small loans like $200 loans. So I'm not a business banker like you, but it's an opportunity where I
and
give
this
in that
and
way.
you said it, and that I'm passionate about giving as well. That's something. Two qualities about me that like I love about is that I love to serve and I love to give.
So, that's important to me, and, something that I want to teach my kids. So absolutely, I agree with you. That's a great something to think about.
Yeah, put that in. And then once a person's listened to or read your mini course, then again, it could still be on word of mouth marketing, but there may be some aspects of it that there may be a strategy or a process that you can dig a little deeper on that you don't go into as much detail in your blog post, but that you can certainly give them some more information on that they can apply to their business right away. So that's something to kind of think about. What would be some things that you could share with that audience in that way? And then to your point, you then have the opportunity, once they finish that, you can then invite them to either a webinar or some type of another level course, or just to do the consulting or the opportunity. I think one of the things that you were referencing before, because you have this ability because of who you are, that the other businesses, that there's an opportunity too for you to bring people together and have them to cross network or cross pollinate each other and help each other kind of grow. So you could do a mastermind or some type of group coaching. I don't know your comfort level, but or at least a networking event of sorts where you can do that type of an exchange. So somehow after they finish this course, there's an opportunity basically to invite them to an event. Or like I said, it could be a mastermind, and where you can bring people who have interest and have similar needs, but they can benefit from one another. So there's an opportunity, and that could be something of a fee nature as well, because this low ticket one, what I typically say, this one is free. The mini course is a low ticket, that's a $1. And then the event could be a $1, and then a more high ticket item could be a $3, a little bit more. So you'll continue to grow your list, but still add value at different levels.
And I love what you said, because I had from the beginning of the funnel and the event, because I do networking events, and I like to bring my clients and individuals to them, because you're giving them the opportunity to get immediate results, because you never know who they're going to meet in that meeting, that they can basically close a deal at that particular meeting, or maybe a week later but you made that introduction. So you're giving them the ability to have immediate results. So I do agree with you. I was just missing that mid part of what can I give them because of what I do and my role. But if I can prepare a mini course that can basically deliver some value of what I already do. I do this, already, and I'm very successful, and that will be like the connector between that and what I can do.
Yeah, and it wouldn't take a lot of time. I mean, you have it in your head. It's just like, how can you capture it in something that's going to be in a written format and you can convey it nicely. The checklist or even an infographic would be really cool too, that kind of addresses the same thing about, marketing at a local level and using that strategy that you find helpful. Then people just haven't spent the time to really know it and learn it and apply it in a useful way. So now you've got social, and then of course, once you have your blog post done, then you can start to share that content about the blog post with your social media and creating some posts that speak about that subject matter. So what helps is that's another way of bringing traffic to your website. So you'll be able to do it from the meetings that you're physically doing. Then you can tell people click, you could use a link, or you could share the link to the blog post in a follow-up text if you want. You have an ability to talk about it in social posts and send people to your blog post. And then on your website where you'll post the blog post is where you'll need someone to do some SEO for you, so you can drive traffic to your site via the blog post itself. And that's where you're going to start bringing in people. And then if you can get that cycle going enough, you're going to
and I don't,
start to see some.
and you forgot, absolutely, and you forgot the most important thing is that you already have people that trust you and believe in you, and that, or it's already, you're already clients that you can give this for them to be able to add it to their newsletter, maybe because maybe they do have a newsletter, or they can send it in their email or send it as a, to their client base or to who they know, to be able to kind of endorse
definitely.
you. So you're making it, and that's the whole point of, word of mouth marketing is how can I make it easier for me to be able to tell you what I do, so you just have to send the link or something and then let the process take its,
Yeah, I think the fact that if you feel as though you could handle doing a newsletter as another layer, once you have this in place, and then you'll be able to speak about the people that are making these connections and coming inside, and you can start to highlight your customers in a newsletter. So that's going to be another strategy, another way of maintaining that. You were mentioning before, how can you keep them engaged? And keeping them engaged, it could be with a newsletter that just weekly or even bi-weekly. I know you're busy, so sometimes it may not necessarily be something that's, you have to do what works and is comfortable for you to do. But certainly a newsletter, again, adds value. But I think that you could highlight the customers as you're bringing them into the bank and highlighting who they are and what they're doing. And that's also going to add value to your customers as well, by saying, you know what, I put out a newsletter to all of our members, or the people that are my business banking clients, and I can highlight you and talk about your business. That's like free marketing for them. So you have that as another opportunity too, that you can offer your customers, as far as the things that you could do, like you were saying, as that business banker. And I think that also could be something that you can note about in the business banker blog post.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So does that wasn't too overwhelming? I mean, I think this is doable. It's just a matter of taking the time and timelining this out a bit. But you certainly, you're not starting from scratch. One, you have a list. And so I'm gonna put newsletter here as kind of your ongoing thing. So that's really in your email marketing piece as well. But I think, just think through this. I'll send you a copy of the sketch so you can kind of still have a visual for yourself. But it gives you some ideas of how you can think about doing things a bit differently. What are your thoughts?
No, the major thing that I was missing was that what can I give them to add value without, how can I say it, without offering any bank product, but
Right.
showing them something that I can also add value to them, and that's the main thing. How can I show them value?
Okay, cool. Well, let me remove that. Well, Felipe, thank you again for being in our funnel coaching seat today. I hope you found this to be of value.
Hopefully you'll have me back.
Yeah. Now, here's the deal. So for those that are watching, when you get the opportunity to be in the Funnel Friday coaching seat, the only thing we ask is, as a result of coming through the coaching conversation, is that you keep us abreast and share your experiences along the way. Like, what were you able to do and take away, and share your progress, because I think it's important that we can learn from each other. And then, of course, if what Felipe does, now this is your plug. So for our members inside of our community, if you want to give a quick spiel on what you're able, what you offer and are able to do, so that other people may want to connect with you that they haven't learned about you before.
So what I want to offer is basically, in the banking world, like I mentioned, there's a lot of opportunity, but a lot of business owners don't have never met their banker, never know. So please, you can message me directly. You can connect with me at www.askolympus.com.
Okay.
You guys can link up with me, and then I can answer the questions and be able to connect you to the person or individual that'll be able to help if I can't help. So, I just want to be a resource to be able to kind of connect to the person that's going to be able to help you. And that's the art of word of mouth, is being able to be a resource for others.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Felipe. And I certainly know that what we've discussed today can be of service to you. Also, you can reach out to me. I do one-on-one coaching in case you're interested as well. So we can talk about that another time. But again, it's Funnel Friday. Thanks again for joining our community and being an active member. So, and for those of you, if you want to be the next funnel coachee seat, direct message me inside of the group as well. So thanks a lot, Felipe. I'm gonna let you go.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. This has been really fun. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do this again, and that think about your business needs, what challenges you may have, and we can do something very similar for you the next time we open up the Funnel Friday seat. And until then, this is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach. Let's get busy.